Alright, I'm gonna do. Okay, I will lay down. Man, my neck feels like. I don't even know. Not good. Let's get it situated. So, more into the podcast, I was thinking of myself like, when I got home, why am I not doing anything, or why am I not doing anything correctly? Even though recently I've gotten to using the temperature timer, and for just for the concerns on being here at this moment, that the the heater could go off, the paint heater could go off, and yeah, it's just really close. It must have some, like, I was looking on, what was it? Udemy, and then the class that I'm taking, and on the branch of the Python language that I'm learning, there was something about neuro something, and I was like, why is that even a field of something? But I assume that R programming was the inherent programming language, or the original medical code language root, or the counter cross of medical information, which in translation to the depth of the actuality on, like, a democratic siege resistance republic format, that those people, those things just run through the format, through the crates and everything. So everybody has their different medical. Anyways, there's this interesting article on how the new road of that there's like an actual allow of the new road contact via device. So I was like, that's like a lot of reasons of my problems. So I had a really good idea for security for my body after that, which I haven't gotten into. But having metaphors to the code of how it works, how there's equal infinite exchange, like you press. So the short summary of what I've learned so far is that your type. So you're creating the something of what that is, and then the first thing is the button, then its equal is the definition of that. So when you're typing in the button, then you're clicking the button of what the button command does on overlay, and then everything else is just stacked on top of that so far. That really helped with the arrays, and then the brackets. The main reason that I want to do it is to make a real time, or have a real time near road, like a yes, no, well, or either retaining facts that I want to keep that are going to stay as the real time is occurring, so continuous on the motion. There's a lot of stuff that would be really good. And then if I was to have something with medical, then I would rather have it go through what I call the Emerald server overall, because it goes along with the personal growth of the person versus redacting the correct figures, which is could be counterpart or stuff like that. And those nurses with, or letter R programmer is not like a friend of people. Like, they know how to tell jokes via their method, and that's not really great. And this one, like, for example, I was my neuros hearing the word pain could be an indication of how I think of my heater on, like, so the word in the dictionary of pain could, like, I enter, or I think of pain, or that pain has appeared to me as I continued, with like a continuous a hold enter statement. So like motion, like, or like your heartbeat or something. That's why it's gonna be really powerful in the medic category, which I'm gonna go with Python, because I can see how I can see it, which means somebody can adapt and could communicate to create a collaborative piece. But for now, it's just blog or vlog and podcast. I know it has something to do with a disconnect. The letter R, which is one of the worst weapons I've noticed lately. I remember overhearing a conversation with said person, and then it was like that, like the R programming was insufficient enough with what was there, and sarcastic and stuff, and no. But rules to operate on my Emerald server is like, you gotta learn how to know how that you have been wrong and that you can be wrong, and allowing yourself to be wrong is the way that you could be correct with yourself, and that's the amount of space that you should think to start off with, or that I feel that I should. Like, even in the sense of those neural passes on the way that you would want me to not say you because I know not to say you. So this was an example of Python. So there's this like opposite bracketing of, so if you put something, then every time that you said something for it to say something, then you said something that is not. So in that sense, or in later trends of like, of the later trends of things I would say, like, it's the upside down of what you would say is the way that something is said, and that's how the thinking becomes automated, or the positive parts. It's a good idea, but I'm still learning, and but for what you see for something is the best way to slowly adapt to something that may already exist. And we do sort of get an overheat for saying nonsense that we don't like. Like, what I notice when I speak in Python is that I'll say something to what I get, and then I won't say the thing to say why I felt that I could say it. Then I anticipate not to say it, and those could be personal growth exchanges, but like if somebody's not ready to hear something, or watching silent smoke. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. The instant time, it was that it's like if I don't say what something is going to be already with keywords, that it can be an unexpected anticipation of somebody else's high expectations. So I'll say something like, this is going to be a free range of something, and then somebody else will say, it's not good to reference things that are not yours. But really, this is really going to be a free range. So once I say that part, then you already know that you don't have to expect anything but what is in front of us right now. So when I said that, I created a little box right here, and that's nice. The only thing about pea shooter is making sure to find the cover. Possibly not shooting to think correctly about the returns right here. Open this. Oh my. No way. Where is this one? So we could do something like run away real quick. I hate that the word, like, in this example, the word run away makes somebody that I like. So comforting somebody equals, like, I would comfort somebody, but then to comfort somebody, I have to discriminate myself. And that would be the complete code. Which I am mad about, that it's okay. It wouldn't be experimental. I feel like if there was a yes-no personal growth, then it would have to be like that it would either have to be like I like this and that I could like this, and then if I did not, if I contrived the basic remedy of law that I could not like this, and then I would know that this person is unable to like this. So I've been kind of doing that in a different, like, somebody thinks that I'm like all like too extremist. So then they find like I would say that I was just trying to talk about how I wanted to take my memories of video games and then do a psychonaut of where I had good memories. So I would say Bioshock, even Black Ops Zombies, throwback, Combat Arms, throwback, high school throwback, Adventure Quest, RuneScape. Pretty much later on we're gonna get as good at Python, at least in the initial basics of it, to be able to write a very, type of diary. Exactly the same. With a bit more, pretty much like that, with a lot more speculative we have created some new friends if you wanted to introduce, but even in this, what is another, like, I don't know, I really get possessions from my pet arowana quite a bit. Now a zombie arowana. We're gonna go this way for a little bit. Let's switch where we got hit like this. But the camouflage of that, if I go here, then I'm gonna take a hit here, where I go around here, and then I get hit. Now, like my mentor here is saying that if I'm looking at that, then it's running the same thing, and it's running good conversation, or good feels versus bad feels. That it'll remember that good feels when failure or dare is looking at me. That's sounds a bit too easy to make, kind of. Versus the real lifetime continuous security that I have. But what is a synonym for what am I thinking? Oh well. Lost in translation. Teeing a result. I'm hearing the disarray of what is saying a benefit is teeing a result against something like these are the mandated principles that must be retained because the interlacing to get those things. It's as if this is this like anomaly on record for mining a specific target. That doesn't hold like all the considerations of the expectancies of how something would happen, intent, crimes, and things like that. It's not all approved in my. So that's kind of like a thing. That's the thing with letter Y. It's a supercomputers. Maybe they don't consider, or what is the most obvious to think that the influential, like, alpha monotheist facade of using of taking the inanimate part of others to create conformities on the facts of that could be held up by a program, no problem. We just with the register ID or updates or anything. Cookies. Things are really good except cyber real-time personal security. That's where we need. And a lot of models and a lot of ladies that I respect, whatever their decisions, that's where I see a lot of to the best of the capacity at the T in a de-interlacing 50-50 objective. It's not like a training ground that can be created. If it can be created, it should be created. Nah, it's for sure. It's not like it's not made up. All crimes are run through Python, so if you can't say somebody equals something, then you can't really say that somebody did it. You could say somebody teed it, and then you happen to take a footstep. Something equals something, and then you click something, which is the button. So button is you equals, I don't know, action, something, that did something, and then send text, different date. And I've noticed this, and I've noticed a thing called sleep mode, where, well, yeah, I don't know, it's an area that I don't know how to really salvage well. I'm not a perfect aficionado for the pain things, but I know that thoughts, the physics of thoughts are not refutable, yet the order, priority of what something is will always be somehow be able to be found rooted in this phase of, or at this time of stuff, because of something. Because the equal for something to say something, since it's, and like, you can't have a thought unless it had been like that you could think of it or that it came from somewhere. So sometimes you can't do certain abilities. So plagiarism can be dangerous, especially future plagiarism. I don't like your attitude, how you just think like this place is yours, and that your poor attitude is just this place of you, and you don't see that as a flaw in yourself. So like this person's trying to say something to us, but by the time that we are on pause to think and then continue, so we can move our thumbs, and then this person will stop. That's about as good as I'm working on this ignore code. Let's retreat to the base so I can take a look at the time. I think that now I see a lot of scrying with people with short futures. Well, having, I feel having, so this was how the rules. So you can't push to ask question if you don't press the buttons to say that you had done your own question. So like, I can't say that I put myself to find myself in curiosity because I wasn't somebody, because person saying something said I wasn't said person, so I wanted that presence, so I put myself to enamor myself as curious, so that the like the disturbance of the, the the shift of that was going to be my methodist and how I was going to go about that conversation, or just European pantry humor. That's really what the social problem is of those kinds of people that I notice. Wow, you could hardly say it without me, so what is that to say about your etiquette? I could stop you from talking at any time I feel like, is how poor a listener you are. And by the time that you say that, to knowing that that is not the remedy for the server, then it's already like, yeah, I really am that. Let me yawn and think of myself. That's what I think of you and your disturbance on my very small server, where you're unwelcome. That's like listening to somebody, which I did just watch, like, yes, ha ha ha, I didn't mean it. And then continuing to think that I found that agreeable. Your pollution for manners. If creating a platform that I have to exist with you, then yeah, I think you're you're kind of annoying. Before somebody even tells you that you're annoying, is what does that even mean? It's not like you're wrong. Like, I found that by trying to create accuracy, that being wrong was correct. And I would like to talk to somebody who is incorrecting at me. So that was a dual philosophy duel right there with myself. Not really myself. I mean, there's other things here. It's a similar idea. We got a good little bit that we could spend time. And I'll turn this off for a bit. So I did all the things. I used the tablet timer. Tried to use an internal timer generically to do that. Then I created some new note cards, which is like a way to power draw and things. So, like, letting you pick at my mind. So, this is Well, my neck is kind of burnt out right now. No, it's not because I said something that already exists. It's because I probably had a cyber attack of some sort. Did I ever have a cyber attack? That's so fun. Us that's kinda lame here. So let's see. I wanted to I was really feeling close to the codename Frankenstein, and I was creating in this game that's like a set platform. So it's like things that are within the platform, but codenames are more rogue than how I see things to be set correctly. But like, I mean, that's just that person, just a Java user, a single centered object. No, it is a C, so I have other single centered objects as well as my Google workspace collapses. I don't really like you, so I don't really share my life with you. Like I said, by the time that I say a value to say something to places that I try to connect to, then they really don't do. I gotta figure until then, because it's a combination of problems that don't really seem achievable. Our own cards, and then ID what we should see. A weapon. If I do this at the same time, and then it's at a time, then it's updating. Like my hand is a Python command object. Then when it's that right there in my space and at perception, you are doing something add on to me. So when I leave this moment, and then I am the centrifuge of my Python defense, which is just my body, then you'll be challenging at this time, unless I was based at a different time, with a different priority, which is good ways to separate myself from my goals and stuff. Like somebody says goals to say something about how it's funny to like use that as a way to create terminology around me, even though they can't pass my Python accusation method. Hey, if I don't feel like I'm in a good mood, then I'm just gonna just say Python all the time. I do appreciate like royal girls, or like, people that like I see and that I relate to, or like if somebody is more into the like selling of themselves, or their performance of themselves, and not like a sports way, but more of like a crochet-esque kind of like, yeah, like the purple game. I do like a lot of ones I see between purple and gray. Those are pretty cool. Gray as in like very loathy and not very interested, very aware of the lack of aptitude to reach like a feint of a confessional goals and method methodologically methodically. I think DNA testing for medicine is a good direction of finding where emerald um, based healing is centered around. I've not got a lot of, not often, of where it's asking for your DNA to make a decision, and that's the whereabouts of the in considerations at the rate of that. But for the personal banter, like I've had a mini teaser of what it's like to do something that I would be willing to do and I'd be capable of doing. So I don't know why I exactly said it like that. But yeah, anyways. It's difficult with my character because in my story, somebody took like a lot of the methods of that or something and then did a sort of transfusion that was semi like the thoughts of two things to think it were really close to the body, and that's what I think. It's a very entailing theory of what you think of the situation that nobody disagrees with. So, yeah, alright. It's like, so some of the people that you like are appreciated for what they do, but that it took a lot of energy. I think it's that the energy to be something com- combats like a placking collagen feeling of it not being to us at that moment, and that our being and self-preservation is the like state of being at a red state. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Well, yeah, I say so. That's like centering your chakra energy to be the moments of where you're around you to what you think. Your ideas attached to your natural self are closest to where you're thinking, and if they're positive, forward, and if what was the past from that action is gone and dispels like to good things. sometimes I need that, but as far as the constructive of myself, I'm at this moment thinking of it, then I'm just my presence right here, just stand. Yeah, I'm not playing that game right now. Every time I play that, I'm like, I watch YouTube. I'm 25 years old. Don't talk to me, bro. I'll be nice enough to remove all this stuff, and then sometimes you want to feel that collaboration of your existence and its appreciation onto the world, and that can not always be at what is aligned at the moment. Alright, here we are. What's good? That was the reference. So when somebody's talking to myself to the vessel and they don't really think about the like how to talk in the Python, like if what you say equals something that you say and then you have to say it again to say it, then that's synonymous with what you're saying. That's alright though. What if I just wanted to say that wow, you can just copy. Alright, so that's pretty much the end of that. What do you want to talk about? Now listen to the pod. Oh, it was one of those things. I mean, where they're able to see all the stuff. Toast. That was a good reference. Toast to not a real toast. It's not that annoying. But I was wondering, like, things for the point. Pretty much, this point isn't secure enough, and if I was to make a duck reference, it would be the candorous of that it's not enough for me to find that I found value in this moment to care to offer you things that I don't even that you say that I don't deserve at the same point of how I say communication is established, where the more there's more confidence in saying how communication is not established. Wow, it's like in all that core debt of that to say it's like saying after I heard all this, then I found myself on the stream to say something that was not too nice. If you know how to talk correctly, then you would be able to talk nice on here, but I guess you don't know how to talk correctly. You talk like you're the problem after the period, after the end of every sentence. Like you're the banter of all work. You're the waste of everything. You're the outspace. You're the outer circle. You're the line of the outer circle is how I feel about you. You can then take the moment to self-realize the acceptance of what somebody thinks of you before you say something back. You're gonna be so correct by the end of this that you'll be wrong, and then there'll be no fixing you. Like saying that if because the equivalent exchange is because I wouldn't say something, because I even would want to, through the methodist of what you would open on my side because of 56, a weird, he thinks he's like the immigration police, hilarious. So it pretty much takes me to deal with that because you decided to say something that you didn't say again through the methodist of somebody else to say something that you didn't care about for somebody who doesn't care about what they say, to let somebody think in some kind of whatever just because I'm here. Yeah, you're a serious buzzkill to my area. What part of what you write as your own idea of yourself has this part where you find it necessary to talk back to forces that are uninterested in you? What do you have that this material wants from you? At least I got a not response is how I feel about that. Don't. I mean, the most realist thing that I could say to a geist is what like what I never said to you on what, bro? You're not even anything. Like I couldn't be mad at something for the nothing of whatever. Why don't I wait for Yogi Shikigaru to guide me through a sensual relationship at the tenacity or atrocity of me speaking English. So I would tell you that I would not waste a mistake on what you say on that, and that, I operate with what I say. Whatever. You would rather run along and say that 28.99 is the denomination, that I'm the denomination of the affirmatory for Miss Apple to go about her life doing something correct. So when she whitewashes her mistakes, she'll be like, I'm 89 and all this coming back to be my problem. And then somebody else will be like, somebody didn't know at data analyst, which I will authoritize myself because I'm just smarter than you and more empowering than you, to say that that the inversions that you find on a concave are the advantages that you find on the inconsiderations of how you go about it. And I'm going to say that point, and why it's relevant is because most of the time to myself I do say it, and it's annoying, and it's aware, and that the person knows that it's aware, that these things about its identification, that it don't see that it doesn't, like, it doesn't see that somebody wants to push real hard, that's not that, or never mind. I mean, it's just, it's sort of a lot of work for somebody to do that. I'm inconsistent. You're a no-show. You do. Who is saying this stuff? I mean, how saying something behind closed doors? It's like I'm motivating my biological father to continue his fruition of these things that he never said, so he can push his little brother to pretend to be immigration police because he's just a rotten pig of a person. Oh, like a disease. My gosh, dude, really at the seal for you to say something about yourself that you, so said purple at that end. I don't like those people anyways, but said person said, I'm gonna seal the end of your video by saying something like this, or I'm gonna say 5 is a person who watched something, and then I waited for somebody else to watch it, and then nobody else watched it, so then I just waited. That's whatever. I mean, headband energy, you could talk to whomever if you tried, so that's just whatever to me. I can't really hit on what the, see, and by that point I guess I don't not even care. It's more about nothing of my consideration when what an advantage. Another issue that I was trying to get help defining, what, like in an invitation, what does it take to be, for the next command to be in an area that it doesn't matter what the next thing said is. That's what annoys me about people, and that's what I'm really putting a lot of this research into. No, he's feeding on this whatever he is thinking. Whatever. Free air. That's what some people think. So somebody said hypocrite. So, alright. So it said, you would say Target Darian is a hypocrite because equals minus isn't a real type of conversation or recorded. So your button equals wait. So you wait and then wait for something to continue. What are you doing watching something that you're not welcome to? This is, this is not you. You are not no debt society. By the explanation of right-handed, or in this video, right-handed debt versus left-handed debt, like lost debt versus held debt. So versus at a no debt society, that is something that I really feel that is a barrier at just knowing the barrier that I create for myself, whether it's in coordination of the willpower in tangent with somebody pushing a disorder on me, is what I really think about me not caring about somebody who who I said I care about in a letter, in a way. So because I care about said person, or just because I said it, and that when said person got it rewarded, and that they don't care about my English, then I cannot continue. And then the reverse polarization to the values that you think that I hold 16 values. Like I value the things that I don't value, and those are the things that I control in my life, are the things that I don't value. That's so funny. I would love to hear, these people who've been trying to talk in the Sun Dynasty, every time. Sun Dynasty rap text, Sun Dynasty this, Sun Dynasty that. Mind your own business. I hope it's just my interpretation of feeling like a coy, because I have yet to see any concern at what is the security of making sure something so stupid is not running. It's so bogus for this garbage. Not worth it. So much as a duck fridge saying something in our nurse that we may or may not know, instigating for us to eat in the fridge to annoy us at testing our like in a candlestick timer. What is this? By the time that something is single dual trajectoried as a problem, then it's still identified as the issue that is put throughout. Whatever is what I have to say. I really do appreciate some things, but there's no way to take my character and the leveling of that to create that as a body until I let that fumigate within myself. And that's kind of confusing. I said in the offer, in Ghost Offer, it was something about nothing, and that's not anything. So that was all my confusions about how I'm inconsistent. Is what you think you're worth at a rate. Yeah, I don't want to let you know that I am annoyed by you. I don't like that. So somebody has the other voice ID, which I don't want in my server, It's in my mouth. I can hear it. I don't care for this person. And it's not my voice. I guess this like incursion of a carving of the hook inside of that ID, wherever that was made, is whatever. Nobody wants to speak English, so I'll throw your fake whatever in the garbage. Okay. As I do something for you to say that you can hardly whatever. It's just something is disconnect between the idea of something being positive, like I just tried, versus somebody being unappreciative of the negative that is brought onto me for where something is poetically to how you try to say it worse for me, for how, like, I don't know. So the evil onto me versus what I'm talking about versus the things that I hold that go down, but it's just the depth of what you say to something, and that Miguel is what he says is hilarious. So if I say Miguel, then Troy is gonna be like, wow, now I can talk because I know Miguel. And then Diedrich's gonna be like, I can declare if somebody's in my family or not because I'm living in my parents' house a year past, which is him. But he's defensive right now. So I'm saying what he's saying in defense mode for him because what, somebody knows the morality of what? I would love to fight any one of you. Except if you won't answer your phone or your message. Talking about a phone. You're so important to how stupid you sound pretending that you own that house. How could you own that house? You I'm the only homeowner here. So anyways, with what I would know with the percentage of, how does that make sense? Domestic violence, more like not domestic violence or domestic as dispute, more like an Asian family. Wow, dude. Ruin my video and then my expression. Harass me with a nurse that's pretending to like me, where my military recruiter finds out that you're just nonsense and that they know the language and that I can hear that, and there's just nothing to go off of that is that great. Well, when are you worth it for me to tell you? When am I worth it? Ha 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 ha. The only part that makes you worth it is what you think of yourself for what others give that to you. And that's not the respect of your intelligence, that's the appeal of your body. So you live by your body, and then you'll live by your body basically. You'll apply yourself by your body, and that's not what you went off as. So unless that's the realm of where you see that as the body positive, like I enter that. But then, like, really, when I say that, when something like that, then you get hit with a heavy storm of what you think of, like, Instagram. But I still think that I'm more of a gym to my figure, and I'm not questioning what I think of myself to that, to think that like that. So, yeah. I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't try to help anybody in my my family. I mean, I would like to help people in general and not have to deal with stuff so stupid. But I wouldn't want to do this for whatever I tried to do to waste myself at night so I could, have this platform or whatever, a journal to look at. And yeah, I already caught that part of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but that also tells me that somebody like Miguel is a fucker, and I'll whoop his ass. And you better get your ass out of that house, or I will visit you again. Ha ha ha! You're so hilarious. Again, wow. It's such a piss off that all the turmoil of a stupid immigration family that brought in a whole bunch of problems is here. And I can't even, touch on the abstract of my frustration. I can, as long as I know that there's an R programmer whose job is to piss me off because it was in a translation to take me with these ones, with the Sun Dynasty. Wow, I deserve to go down with the Sun Dynasty? Bullshit. What are you really not saying because you're incapable of saying it? Because I would also be uninterested. And yeah, I'm so pissed off that he is always trying to escape. And then at this point at the injunction of just having a wounded car, you don't think what I would say to something. And then it's like almost good you're a family member that I can't say that I'll whoop your ass by the time that you're already trying to say it to somebody else who is supposed to be my friend, who's a bitch, and that they're already trying to get on somebody else. And then how can you be the cool one if I'm the one that at the same time that I'm saying something that you can't even say? That's pretty much like you and your girlfriend that you don't even think that you have a value to, that you get scared to I don't know, dude. I just don't like you, and I don't like living for you. I think you're pathetic in that house, and I try to get your parents to make fun of you, and I do anything to get it so that you get it to be turned to a cold shower. So I don't know what you're doing as me being better than you in internal affair as your social worker, buddy, that you're doing anything that you think you're doing. It shouldn't be any more stupid that you shouldn't be able to eat stuff that you don't pay for yourself and then go somewhere where that person don't own anything or fractional ownership. That person that you're talking to, anonymous to whatever, because everybody's made to not care to what you think. There's not an equivalent exchange of that. You just need to shut up and become less attentive to what the issue is of what you did wrong, because then there would be no point to pick at. Wow, then you go kick out Diedrich. Yeah, he didn't say anything so tough. He didn't say anything about free air. He would probably try to move back. Wow, my sacrifice is to have people on my payroll. Wow, this is what you set up for somebody else's life. Yeah, lucky that I like some of these YouTubers. Somebody can own a gun who's not a homeowner. What kind of nonsense is that? I thought it was 21, married, if you're married, or if you're the homeowner, to show who has the pants in the relationship, not a bunch of little kids. You know what he didn't say? He didn't say something right after that, because I bet if you look at 56's computer, you'll find some funny paraphernalia where he'll go off on a tangent about how he thinks that he made Bitcoin. Ha, you're worth it. Don't ever run me in a circle of what you think that I'm going to do for you, because you think that somebody's doing that, and then you throw a word in the air and then you say that it's attached to somebody who doesn't roll with you like that, because they're exactly the same. You know, I can't wait to meet you again. Kiss you. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I'm wounded right now, supposedly, in that, but the narrative. So pretty much, I was at one of the fifth thirds, and then said biological father was already trying to be like, hey, you know, you don't even call this, and before the GSM switch on me permitting a second authentication factor, it already did not say anything. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's just by the feel of it. Didn't really go by too much of that. You're stupid. How you gonna go to somebody? How you gonna go to somebody at the same time you're trying to prove something that you can't prove to yourself? Get out of my life or make an appearance is how I feel. Who cares? You know that they took the rights to make narrative about me. That I could defend myself with a note or whatever. Oh no, let me live like this forever, bro. Well, you know, it looks good until I have these tag-alongs. I don't even speak like this. It's not even my language, not even my preference. It don't make sense. That's whatever. That's the occupation. Alright, the end. This is way too long for just like, you know, just the few ones on the subscription list if I ever did. But I mean, I really felt like I really tried to make this like a really cool art style with all of my thinking. So combined with that, and I want it better than some garbage about relatives finding an excuse for whatever. It's not often that I've ever hotlined. I've never hotlined for anything significant or ran up on any money with any of these people. So I don't know why they think anything of themselves at this point on any kind of formula or fusion of any nonsense. It's whatever. The end.